It's Friday, February 21st, 2025, and we're in the port of Buenos Aires. Last night was we arrived last night around 6 p.m. and went directly off the ship to the Tango show, which was a nighttime event, show and dinner. Today we have a morning tour from 9 till 1 on something called the Tigre River Tour. Then we'll come back to the ship a little bit after lunchtime and have a nighttime tour of Buenos Aires by night, and then another overnight stay in Buenos Aires, and then tomorrow an all-day Pampas tour, which will put us back late, and then I think the ship will be departing late tomorrow night, not spending another night. So let's take a look real quick at what this port is all about a little more closely. This is down below me, the activity of outbound luggage. You can see it's like an airport. The luggage is being loaded into luggage carts and onto a trailer to be taken to a departure hall. So these are departing luggage. It's a beautiful morning, warm day, won't need any kind of jacket or anything. It's going to be in the mid-80s. This is clearly a very large commercial port, just container traffic everywhere. I mean, it was really involved last night when we took our little shuttle to the arrivals and departure hall for the tour. We were winding our way in between all of these containers, so it's a busy commercial port. All right, so we'll report back later when we're on the Tigre River tour and give you additional perspective from there. El Tigre, the Tiger City. It's a river delta outside of Buenos Aires, and we're following along here with the tour group. This is gorgeous, not cosmopolitan. It's sort of like countryside. We're not running into big tall buildings here. These are individual houses, so it's sort of country home kind of vibe to it. This is really gorgeous. It's just the temperatures. It's probably 82, maybe 78, something in that neighborhood. Really warm, but not hot. And the surroundings here are absolutely off the charts beautiful. All right, we boarded the boat, and we elected to get up on the top deck here so we can get a better shot. So we're on the second level of this tour boat, and there's a canal. And although the guide suggested that they don't like much comparisons to Venice here, the fact is that it's very similar. They've got these little water taxis that look like these vaporettos in Venice, and a canal system that kind of feels like Venice. And it's a gorgeous high 70s, early 80s day. Beautiful little town, Tigre. Here on a Friday, and it's 10 o'clock in the morning, and the guide has suggested that this is a benefit to come on a weekday, because during the weekends on Saturday and Sunday, the Buenos Aires families come out here, because you can see that it's just a beautiful family arrangement here. It's a little bit breeze blowing, which feels really good because it's warm.
Is the sun patron of the country. Remember that the 75% of the country is Catholics, and Luján is who represent us. Our Lady Luján. Luján River, on left side, continental area, on your right side, the insular area, the islands of the Delta. On the right side, you can see the club, Marina Club. Remember that Tigre City is the national capital rowing. Right side, Club Marina. You can see the boats on the left side, the rowing boats. And on your left side, you can see a pedestrian street. The name is Victorica. No, now it's too early, but maybe in 2 or 3 hours, touristas are here, drinking mate, the national drink, making campings with friends, walking along these streets, restaurants, bars, discos you have along here. Remember that each city we have a commercial area that is behind, in the continent. That now we are going to visit in a few minutes. You will see a very good restaurant here in the area of Tigre. That is the next house pink on left side. The name is the restaurant Maria Luján, because Luján is the river where the house is in front of. Look on left side, the restaurant Maria Luján. Remember, when we look the bus boats, you have to think that at the first floor goes the passengers. At the roof, luggage, freezers, mini freezers, where the people go to the campings. And if you have dogs, and any animal that you need to translate to the island, at the roof. On left side, you can see the airplanes behind the trees and the White House, Naval Museum Tigre. At the end of the 19th century, Argentina was a rich country. Long time ago, this country, we will discover at the continental area. Remember that this river for us, the limit, the continent on left, the islands on the right. And in these islands, in a few minutes, we will start to see recreos or little clubs. Some ones are private, some ones are publics, that you will have to pay like $12, that will be in pesos, 12,000 pesos, and you can spend full day here. Continental area, and to this area come only for holidays, for summertime. Next to this museum, in a few minutes, you will see the big parking of the boats, that we call the Guarderia Náutica. Tigre sign on your left side, and now look the house on the left, the hotel, the ex-Tigre Hotel.
Very, very French design. The guy cleaning it up there with a power washer.
This is showing us how is Buenos Aires and the state of Buenos Aires, like the little Paris of Latin America. So many people said, for this beautiful palace that we have in this city, but also in Buenos Aires, that show what the history of Buenos Aires at the end of the 19th century. So now let's continue with the tour. You will find on your left side, big, on your right, on your left, and in front of you, the islands of the Delta. This delta is one of the 5 biggest deltas in the world. This delta has 20,000 square kilometers. The first delta in the world, the number 1, is the Nilo. This is the number 5. This delta is split in 3 different areas. South area from Buenos Aires state. The second and the third region depends from the state of Entre Rios and Santa Fe. You see here where we feel that the water is not so high. You can see here how the people lives in the delta. So let's talk about the islands on the right side. What do we have? Let's see.
Oh, there's the boat. There's the supply boat.
Supermarket boat on the right side. There we have the first supermarket boat. Perfecto. The delta is in front of you. It's at the border, it's at the shore of the island. Because the heart of the delta, the middle of the delta is deep. So we need to put the house in front of the rivers. So let's talk about the house. These houses on the left and right we call palafited house because they fall by columns under, palafitos. The house cannot be at the ground for protection because now the level is increased, but if the river increase and increase, we can have floatings inside the house. So for protection, the house in the island is in a second level. So in front of your house, you need to have a pier. All piers on the both sides, because how we come here, we cannot walk from the continent to here. We have to take the bus boat, our own boat, or if we have the monies, Wi-Fi, Wi-Fi. The only thing that we don't have here is water. The water is here at the rivers, but we don't have a potabilization plant here. This is why, if you pay attention in the house, at the roof of the house, you can see a tank. The water passes through inside the tank, and you have two filters. The water is clean only at 30%. This means that the water you can use for take a shower or for clean your house. No for drink, no for cook. Friends, now everybody, first floor, second, we start with the snacks. The right with the name Big Wa, a Big Wa on the right.
Yeah. Yeah, there's not as much as you would think.
Okay, now we are at the river.
Got it.
Okay,
Is
now
it-
on the right side, yellow.
These men are working on the propulsion system of this water taxi, and they've got a crane there holding it up, and some guys precariously perched underneath, which I don't think I'd want to be that guy. And then these are some abandoned boats left here through the years, and now we're approaching the continental side of things, which is this amusement park, and we'll be deboarding here in a couple minutes. All right, now we've got the Cathedral of San Isidro. This is an adjoining town to Buenos Aires city, where a lot of in the past San Isidro Cathedral. There's a sign right there. We'll go get it. This area was a place where wealthy Argentinians built summer homes or weekend homes in the past. So there's a lot more historical flavor on these than what we just went through in Tigre. We're entering the Cathedral of San Isidro. Nothing really extraordinary about this when you compare to something like Santiago, where it was really decorated. This is pretty plain vanilla for the church of this era. All right, now here's an outside view of the Cathedral of San Isidro, in San Isidro outside Buenos Aires. Beautiful clear day today, really nice. We've just returned from our day tour in Buenos Aires, and we had a sweet switch on this leg to what we thought was a worse category of suite, but it turns out to be something way better because it's got a separate, bigger living room area. It's like 1.5 times as wide as what we had before. We have this little area here. The little living room area comes with a coffee machine. Way nicer than what we had before.
But we didn't have a coffee machine. What is this, deluxe?
I don't know what it is, but it's better. And even the balcony is wider. Instead of having just 2 little narrow chairs, we have essentially a table and a couple of loungers. And what I think this means is that our other suite that we were in had two of these dividers. This one has 3, so this is like 1.5 times as wide as the other room. So anyway, we're thrilled with getting in here because it's just way more spacious. Now we're in the newest neighborhood, the Morero neighborhood of Buenos Aires, and that's the Women's Bridge, a highly abstract sculptural bridge in the background. It's 104 degrees here today. It's the hottest day of the year. It's a 7:20 at night, and it's around 100.
I wonder, it seems hot today if it was that bit that temperature.
We have these beautiful sycamore trees everywhere here. Big wide avenues. Everywhere you go, there's just giant, really wide avenues. This port was abandoned in the early 1900s, and a new port built. They could accommodate deeper draft ships. And then in the 80s and 90s, it was rehabilitated into what we're looking at now. Very nice. Look at these cumulus clouds up here. These are diners on a floating restaurant barge on the La Plata River. And looking at these buildings and these skyline up here, you really get the sense of how how influenced they were by the French architecture of the 1800s. All these buildings having these mansard roofs. And it's just gorgeous. One thing that one notices about it is the scale of the planning here. What they've done is demonstrate an extraordinary scope for the planning. I mean, how wide this is. How wide are these avenues? How many of these green spaces are there? It's fantastic.
And once everybody's ready, we continue from here to the Alvear icon, all right? So come back here. We come back? Yeah, from the bridge, okay. We're just going here and then we come back. You're gonna just, if you like.
So we're on the Women's Bridge right now in Buenos Aires. Hello. And the French architecture is rather a dominant feature. Let's take a look across the way here. There's an abandoned, not abandoned, but a wooden ship. These cranes up and down here are leftovers from the days when this was a working port. They just left them in as a memoir. And then here's a red brick warehouse building, and there are a lot of these up and down here that have been rehabbed after having been abandoned for about 40 years. The site was abandoned. And then there's a French influenced, looks like some kind of hotel building or something. We're headed for something called the Crystal Bar, and it's going to be a 31st floor observation platform and cocktail lounge. And I can tell that Martin is thirsty. I think this is going to be fun. All right, and there's the view from the top.
Use this because you can very pretty.
Very nice, very nice. And the inside. Now here is the super spooky 32nd floor overlook. And I'm afraid of heights, so I'm getting this shot done and going down.